Hi guys, slight technical difficulties with the camera. My batteries ran out, so I lost part of what I was saying. Um, we had a frost snap last week, which actually damaged quite a few of my seedlings. Um, I had them out in the greenhouse for hardening off, and they'd managed fine during the nights, and then we got a really, really unusually cold night for this time of the year, which was -8 degrees, and it damaged some of my tomato plants. It was mostly tomato plants, but there was salad plants and all different things it's damaged, so I'm going to be re-sowing some plants. I didn't take out all of my tomato plants, but it did damage some and it killed some. So I just want to sow a few more. Because obviously once they've been damaged, there's a risk that their growth will be inhibited by it. Just slow them down a bit. So I want to re-sow some more. The other thing I'm going to sow, well, there's a few more things, but the other thing I'm going to sow is cucumbers. And that is because the cucumbers that I sowed following packets instructions, and basically for the Swedish climate I probably shouldn't have followed the instructions, so I've sown them too early and they're now kind of they look strange. They look leggy at the same time as being stunted in growth, so they're not very tall, but they're starting putting out flowers and stuff, and they're tiny, but they're also really yellow and don't look healthy the way that they're supposed to. So I'm going to plant some more cucumbers. The other thing I'm planting is Brussels sprouts, and I'll be planting some sunflowers too. Giant sunflowers, this is the right time for sowing all of those, and it is the right time for sowing the cucumbers now, so it shouldn't be an issue. This is a new root trainer system that I've bought. I can't remember the maker of it. I think it's Nelson Gardens maybe. So I'll put the name in the description. I'll also write down which root trainer this is. I've seen other people using root trainers that are like a thinner plastic, and that was actually what I was out looking for. But this was the only root trainer that my local garden centre had. Each side comes in sets of 4. Each side has a lock on the side. You just lift it up, pull it down. This got some soil in it because I actually filled it with soil on camera and then realised that my camera had switched off. So I'll be filling that side up again. It's got a wick here made out of felt, which goes, again, I can't show you from the other side. It goes through, you see the green there, it goes through to water each single one of the root plugs, and then on the other side it's the same thing, but I've already got soil in there, so I can't show you that side. At the moment, in the beginning, there was 2 instructions it had, and in the beginning the wick should be up on the holders, and then once it's gone past a few days you put it down at the bottom, and that way it can suck up the water that you have in the tray. Comes with a lid as well, so it's a little propagator. The second instruction that it had was that you were to fill it 1/3 of the way up with soil and pack that soil down so that you get like a solid bottom to it, and then on top of that you just put your soil in as you usually do. So that's it filled up in the bottom there. You can't really see anything, it's just dark. So I've packed down the soil in the bottom there. I'm just going to fill it up with soil on top of it. Yesterday was actually a really productive day, but because there was a lot of physical work I didn't actually do any filming. I went up to the forest in 2 huge efforts to bring home wheelbarrows and wheelbarrows full of leaves, and some of them have been chopped and put into bags for use later on, and some of it's also been used for making soil for the remainder of my potatoes, because that's all my potatoes planted now, which is great. It's been a complete stress because I started chitting them, and the last variety, the chits on them the sprouts got really massive, so I had to cut them down a little bit. So this one's the cucumber seeds, telepathy it's called. I only actually have 5 seeds left, so I'm going to plant 2 in one of the holders. I'm putting them up on their side because I've had that tip that if you put them on their sides, it's supposed to hopefully prevent them rotting. So we'll see. The other thing I've heard is that the fat end is where the roots come out. I don't know. So here we go. It's all 5 placed in that side. I'll just check my list to make sure because I've numbered it. Yeah. Then the other side is going to be my gherkins. I've loads more gherkin seeds, so I'll just be using 1 on each. Because I don't really see the point in saving 1 seed. There we go. Put it back in my basket. I don't know if you can see them there. You could do, I checked. And then on top of that, I'm just going to sprinkle some sand. None of my soil is particularly fine. So I was thinking about what I had around the garden. I don't use perlite or any of the other versions of it, partly because I don't want to spend the money on it, really. There's no other reason for it. I don't want to spend the money on it. I do have access to free sand though, so that's what I'm using. I probably will have just switched the sound off because the dog went mental barking at the cat. So that's the cucumber and the gherkins done. And then second on my list was subarctic plenty, and the romantica is the next one after that. So subarctic plenty and romantica. Taped all of these back up again because I didn't think I would need them again this year. It's getting really cold in here. It's slightly heating up. trying to get this opened up. Oh my. I forgot how tiny tomato seeds are. Right, so Subarctic Plenty is number 3. Yeah. Make sure I'm putting them in the right one. Actually. So that was the Subarctic Plenty, and it might have gone soundless again because the dog started barking again. I actually have 4 beagles. Funnily enough, the word beagle is French for loudmouth, and it's true, because when they bark, you can hear it. So that's Nima being loud. The other girls are inside, sleeping. She decided she wanted to come out and make some noise. She's been quiet again, so I can speak. Now these are the cherry tomatoes that I took seeds from the supermarket tomatoes. This one was called Romantica. So I'm just going to put the sand on top of this now. And then that's the Subarctic Plenty and the Romantica cherry tomatoes done. I've not actually posted an awful lot of films about my dogs. Most of it gets put up on my Facebook. Sometimes Instagram. But mostly Facebook. There's some cracking photos of dogs on Facebook. I recently posted one of... I might actually put the photo in right now on the video. But I posted a photo of Abby 2 years ago roughly. Well, it would be about probably a year and maybe 10 or 11 months of her sleeping. And then another picture of her recently, about 2 weeks ago. So, almost 2 years in between them exactly. And her sleeping in the exact same way. She's a cutie. All my dogs are. They're beautiful girls. Wrong way around. Here we go. So the next one's going to be the yellow cherry tomato and the Brussels sprouts. So this is some more seeds that I saved from the multi-pack of cherry tomatoes. I'm not going to be planting any more of the brown cherry tomatoes, the chocomato things, because I recently replanted some of them, so I still have some seedlings from that are teeny tiny, so there's no point in me replanting it really, because I already have it replanted, because the survival rate of them was quite low. I just realised I keep forgetting to dib holes. Annoying. A little wooden dibber. This was a 3-piece set I got from the garden centre as well while I was there. There's a dibber. There's a little spade. This is for repotting seedlings was how it was described, and a little rake as well. I don't know if I would ever actually have use for that. But before I started using them, I put, just make sure I'm doing this with the right one. I did treat the handles with beeswax polish that I've made myself. I also used it on, I actually made the polish for the bench that I'm sitting on. So that was the yellow cherry tomatoes. Just do the Brussels sprouts now. And then 7 and 8 I think is sunflowers in my little system here. And the seeds here are loose. And they're tiny, teeny, tiny. So I'm going to plant 2 at a time in these. Close the packet up and then sand on top again. And like I said, a lot of my other seedlings I just used just regular soil on top, but I'm not sure if maybe that was why the germination rate of the cucumbers was quite poor. So I'm thinking I just wanted to try the sand, see whether or not it made a difference. And the sand's slightly wet because it's been sitting outside, that's why it's so dark, because otherwise it's very, very light sand. There we go. Let's shove my finger right in it. That's the yellow cherry tomatoes and the broccoli. And soil everywhere. The last 2 is the sunflowers. Get this the right way around. I have to get the colours the right way around as well. One of these is a giant sunflower and the other one's a red one. Let's check which way around they're going. Yeah, the red one's number 7. The red one's called Evening Sun. It's a very pretty colour. Wow, they're not joking about the giant seeds. Well, the giant plant. Seeds are absolutely massive. Try to do the fat end down the way. So it's where I've heard the roots come out of is the fat end. I'm taking part in the challenge, but I don't think mine will become very big. The growing the largest sunflower challenge. Obviously the growing season in Sweden's a bit later. Here we go. Sand on top and put it in its box, and then they just need watered in. Hello, welcome back to sunlight. When I was filming last night, it got so late that it actually got too dark. for me to show you the things I was trying to show you. Here in this corner, well, I try not to fall over boxes. All along this line here, you see how yellow the cucumbers are and the gherkins. So they don't look right. And they started sending up, I don't know if you can see it there, started sending up flowers. Like, right there. It's a flower. So that's why I wanted to replant them, because they just don't look right. And then I've had casualties from the frost. I pulled that one out. I just got to pull out those two there. And then this was all salad plants. I've all pulled them out. Here, my peas are doing fine though. In my guttering, my beetroot there in the middle. And then I've got my beans here. I've got everything put up on compost, well, soil sacks. And then really, I think probably next year the best plan of action will be building a frame that I can have like higher up, so that I can have a heating source underneath, so that I don't have to worry about the frost the way that I did this year. Down here is where I've put all of my potatoes that are in buckets. So I'm hoping they'll grow well on this wall. The other thing I found was this old metal basin. I'm not actually sure what it would have been used for. It's maybe an old wash bin, like an old wash tub for washing your clothes in. I'm not sure. But it's got rusted holes and things in the bottom, so I'm thinking that's probably where I'll put my carrots. I've actually got two of these, slightly different shapes to them, but I'm not sure what they are. They're just lying around, so that's where I'll be putting my carrots anyway. This is how the garlic's getting on, and as you can see, some of the varieties are really thin and spindly, whereas other ones are quite big. These were all planted last autumn, so there we go. It's 4 varieties. The top one's Vigor, then it's Thermidor, then Printador, and Flavour is the last one. And then I've got my onions at the front here. I have seen there's some tiny little shoots coming up there, but I'm just waiting for them to poke up properly. There. Oh, leaf falling right over the top. So they're doing fine. And then I have to decide what I'm putting in the border behind it. Hazel tree. So I'm going to now go have a run off on the field with my girls. My beagles, 4 of them. So I hope you all have a fantastic day. Bye.